Good Tuesday morning and welcome to Korea Today.
President Park Geun-hye outlines her priority tasks such as reviving the economy, setting the foundation for reunification of the two Koreas, while proposing the resumption of reunions for war-torn families during her first press briefing since assuming office.
And so the Unification Ministry suggested officially holding talks, working-level talks this Friday to North Korea. More coming up in the headlines.
On the same line, how did the newspapers cover the president's first press conference? That coming up on In Print.
They stroll around the neighborhood in search for food, often howl through the night, and some are even dangerous. Find out why feral cats have become a problem in many of Korea's cities.
What future technologies will become a mega trend in 2014? We take a look at the latest technologies from wearables, 3D printers to everyday items that connect like a living organism. New Year's resolution favorites that top the list are quitting smoking and shedding some kilos. We'll give you some tips on how to kick some bad habits and get it right this year on this Tuesday, January 7th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And a good Tuesday morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today.
Good morning, everyone. One of the nation's biggest holidays, the Lunar New Year, is only 3 weeks away now, about 3 weeks away. And this is when Koreans nationwide go to their homes and spend time with their loved ones. And the competition to get homebound tickets, train tickets, can get pretty fierce. In fact, online ticket sales will start today.
That's right. It has started at 6 a.m. It'll go until 6 p.m. today for a total of 12 hours. But because of the high internet traffic caused by the demand and to prevent server failure, if you're not able to complete this transaction in 6 attempts, then you will be logged out and you will have to go back and basically log in again and start the whole process over. But you also have 3 minutes to complete the transaction as well. If you're idle for more than 60 seconds, then you are logged out as well. So people who are not familiar with the internet or computers, it might be tricky, but this is of course to make sure that everything does run smoothly.
It's a bit like taking a test, but I'm sure it's all worth it when you do get there and spend time with their loved ones.
That's right, that's right. And also starting tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., there will be advanced ticket sales at the window. So we'll be talking a bit more about that too.
All right, we'll go to the day's headlines with Nahan Gyum.
A reunification of the two Koreas is like hitting the jackpot. That's what President Park Geun-hye said during her 80-minute New Year's press conference on Monday. The president emphasizes South and North Korea should break away from the threats of war and nuclear weapons and prepare for a peaceful reunification, which would bring a huge economic benefit to both Koreas. The president also laid out her 3-year economic innovation plan aimed at revitalizing the Korean economy with some specific goals.
잠재 성장률이 4% 수준으로 높아지고 1인당 국민소득은 3만 불을 넘어 4만 불 시대를 바라보게 될 것입니다. 또한 고용률 70% 달성에 청년, 여성 일자리가 많이 늘어날 것입니다.
Now, this was her first ever press conference since taking office in February last year. The ruling Tenri Party says it was a good opportunity for the president to share her plans directly with the public, but the main opposition Democratic Party once again criticized her communication skills, saying the press conference was merely a chance for the Park administration to promote its policies. And the Unification Ministry was quick to respond to President Park's call for holding inter-Korean family reunions in time for the upcoming Lunar New Year holiday. Through the Korean National Red Cross, the ministry has officially offered North Korea to hold a working-level meeting this Friday at the Truce village of Panmunjom. The reunions for families separated since the Korean War, which were originally slated for September last year, were called off at the last minute after Pyongyang unilaterally notified Seoul of its decision. Now, officials say once the two Koreas agree to hold them, the meetings could take place swiftly since most of the preparation was completed last year. The last time such an event was held was in October 2010. North Korea has yet to respond to Seoul's offer. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says he wants to sit down with the leaders of Korea and China. The Prime Minister says summit meetings are necessary in order to maintain stability in Northeast Asia, adding that although Japan is not making any direct approaches at this point, he believes the door to dialogue is open.
I will explain the true intention behind my visit to the Yasukuni Shrine with sincerity to both countries.
The Yasukuni Shrine in Tokyo honors the country's war dead, but also includes some dozen Class A war criminals. China's foreign ministry says Abe first needs to look at its history from a correct perspective and reflect on its past practice of invasion and colonialism before expecting any improved Sino-Japanese relations. President Park Geun-hye also urged Tokyo to stop breaking trust between the two countries, saying sufficient preparations would have to be made first in order for any summit talks to take place. Market analysts are all eyes and ears on Samsung Electronics' earnings guidance for the fourth quarter last year. The world's largest mobile phone maker is set to announce the projected numbers in a couple of hours. Market expectations are mixed, though. Foreign analysts estimate the earnings to hover around the 9 trillion won mark, or $8.4 billion, citing multiple reasons such as the strengthening Korean won as well as weak smartphone sales. Domestic analysts, on the other hand, gave a rosier outlook, putting the projection at $8.8 billion. Samsung shares, the biggest component of the Kospi, edged up slightly on Monday after slumping to a 4-month low last week.
And good morning, everyone. Time for a look through your newspaper headlines. Well, the main story on this Tuesday is President Park Geun-hye's first press conference. As you can see there, all of our dailies treating this story as their top. Let's go ahead and begin with a look at the front page of Donga-ilbo. Its headline highlighting the economic aspect of her multi-pronged New Year plan. As it reads, effects of innovative economy will be felt by the people. To that end, the president committed to reduce growth-stifling regulations and boost domestic demand. Other issues covered in the roughly 80-minute press conference include reunification, that it would be a so-called 대박 or jackpot for Korea's economy, public reform of abnormal practices, thawing of inter-Korean relations. She called for Pyongyang's sincerity there, and communication, that she does not believe in compromising when it goes against the interests of the people. Now, the article below that story right here actually shows, has a count of the most reoccurring words during her 18-minute opening speech. The people there coming on top with 26 mentions, and the economy close behind at 24. Now, experts that Donga surveyed said that the economy was the area best covered by the president, while they expressed regret at the lack of address of domestic political issues. The subheadline says the experts rated her first press conference a B, or 8 out of 10. But of course, everything is in the eye of the beholder. Let's go ahead and scoot on over to Gyeongyang Shinmun to see how it evaluated the press conference. The headline reads, 80 minutes of talk, but no communication. The article explaining that on reporter questions about government operation and domestic issues such as expanding welfare and economic democratization, her answers stopped at being theoretical, while all of the opposition parties' proposals on political issues, including opening a special investigation on the nation's spy agency, were denied. Next up is the front page of 조선일보. It puts its emphasis on the president's proposal to hold cross-border family reunions in time for the Lunar New Year as its top. We will leave that presser there for now, though, and turn to other issues making headlines. Let's go ahead and take a look at that story there. This one highlights military readiness as the headline reads, U.S. Armed Forces Korea pursues positioning additional battalion in northern Gyeonggi-do province. Now, this would affect the 2nd Infantry Division, which the paper says is due to be suited with an enhanced M1A2 tank and an M2A3 infantry fighting vehicle this year to prepare for any situations of sudden change or provocation from North Korea. The 8th U.S. Army headquarters, which previously had performed human resource support, is being re-outfitted as a command post. It also adds this military beef-up is exceptional, the paper says, given the budget cuts the U.S. Defense Ministry has seen back at home. All right, let's go on over to our next newspaper, 중앙일보's side. Headline, we'll take a look at that one there, reads, Pope coming to Korea in August. Now, Pope Francis will be in Korea for the 6th Asian Youth Day, the article says, which would make the papal visit a first for the country in 25 years. And finally, we'll go ahead and wrap things up with a look at our business daily for today. A quick look at the day's Forex activity on our economic daily right here. The headline reads, interest rate cut rumor triggers sharp rise in $1 exchange rate. The subheadline notes that the Korean currency jumped by 10 won against the greenback on Monday from the previous trading day, marking the biggest weakening since June of last year. This following a report released by investment bank Goldman Sachs that it projects the Bank of Korea's Monetary Policy Committee could lower the interest rate, which would in effect release more won into the market and devalue the Korean currency. The Korean won, meanwhile, also weakened against the Japanese yen, the article says, ending 9.11 higher against the yen. And on that note, we'll wrap your look at what's in print on this Tuesday. Next up are your closing numbers from Monday's market action.
Now, it is Tuesday, and we've been expecting this deep freeze. And when is this cold going to arrive? It hasn't just yet, has it?
Tomorrow, I hear. So we'll get a closer look at the weather conditions for today and maybe for tomorrow with our Idami, who joins us from outdoors. Good morning.
Tommy, it's Christmas all over again. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm reporting live from Paju, Gyeonggi-do province. This morning, most of the peninsula is starting off with cloudy skies. Temperatures are a bit at the mild side. Right now it's 0.7 degrees Celsius, and later in the day, our afternoons will be quite mild as well. However, as for the air, the smog is starting to thicken, which means fine dust levels are going to rise, ranging between 81 to 120 micrograms. Please, especially for the elderly, try not to stay outdoors for a long period of time. Now, as for tomorrow, it looks like we will receive nationwide snow or rain. And then on Thursday, the cold wave is going to return, making our lows plummet all the way down to negative 10 degrees Celsius. So do be prepared for that. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the chart for today's weather. Seoul's highs will reach to 7, Daejeon and Gangneung at 8, Daegu and Gwangju at 9, Busan at 12, and Jeju at 13 degrees. That's all I have for the weather. I'll be back in just a few moments.
Now, just yesterday, President Park Geun-hye held her first news conference since assuming office, and she did talk about her policies and the things that she will be working on in the second year of her administration. Now, she also answered some questions from reporters that were on site.
That's right. And there was a lot of anticipation from the press and the public as well, this being her first press conference since her inauguration. And she used the opportunity to lay out her plans to revive the economy as well as to open a new era for a unified Korea. So let's take a closer look at what was said and what we can expect from this press briefing.
존경하는 국민 여러분, 2014년 갑오년 새해가 밝았습니다.
President Park Geun-hye, for the first time since taking office, held a New Year's press conference for the local and foreign media at 10 a.m. on Monday morning. The 80-minute session outlined the government's policies for this year and also included a Q&A session with journalists on current affairs. There were 4 main issues discussed at the meeting.
국민 여러분이 성과를 피부로 느낄 수 있도록 우리 경제의 혁신과 재도약을 위한 경제 혁신 3개년 계획을 세우고 이것을 성공적으로 이끌어서 국민 행복 시대를 열어가겠습니다.
President Park first unveiled government policies and plans for the new year at the opening of the session and said she would establish a 3-year economic innovation plan to boost and transform Korea's economy.
First, she spoke about reforming abnormal practices and also the public sector as well as the tax system. Second, the president spoke of creating an innovative economy through dynamic economic reform. And third, she spoke of relaxing regulations in the service sector as well as boosting the domestic market by promoting small and medium-sized companies in order to gain a balance between exports and the local economy.
우선 온 국민의 관심사인 부동산 문제입니다.
하우스 푸어 문제를 완화하고 경제 활성화를 위해서 이 부동산 시장을 정상화하는 것, 이제 이것을 좀 굉장히 중요하게 생각을 하고 있습니다.
The president also announced various measures on issues such as the housing market, increase in taxation, and stimulating the regional economy in the Q&A session.
Without leaping one step forward, the country can fall into a bog of low growth. And if this is the case, jobs will not increase, nor will people's incomes. This will in turn reduce the quality of people's lives, as well as slow down the economy. That's why, from the government's point of view, economic growth and stimulating the economy is an issue of great importance.
이제 우리 대한민국이 세계적으로 한 단계 더 도약하기 위해서는 남북한의 대립과 전쟁 위협, 핵 위협에서 벗어나서 한반도 통일 시대를 열어가야만 하고
President Park also laid out, as one of her key agendas, building the foundation for an era of a unified Korea. She said the government would try to resolve the North Korean nuclear issue and also continue humanitarian aid for the people in the North. The president said she will enhance international cooperation to spread a consensus for unification on the Korean peninsula.
If the South says it wants to lead relief efforts for the North, Pyongyang will be on the strong alert against this, because it may think the South is trying to topple the regime or absorb it. But if it is put in the context of cooperation with the international community, the North can more easily accept it. And if other countries which are transparent monitor the North, I think that Pyongyang will not reject it as much.
국정원, 국가 또 군사이버사령부 등 국가기관의 대선 개입 의혹 사건은 여전히 시끄럽습니다.
이 문제로 인해서 참 국론이 분열되고 또 국력이 소모된 것을 정말 안타깝게 생각을 합니다.
Domestic politics and pending social issues were also discussed. Regarding the controversy surrounding the National Intelligence Service, the president said it's now time to move beyond exhaustive debates and take a step towards the future.
소통의 의미가 이렇게 단순한 기계적 만남이라든지 또는 국민의 이익에 반하는 주장을 그 주장이라도 이렇게 적당히 수용하거나 타협하는 것이 소통이냐? 그거는 소통이 아니라고 생각을 합니다.
Also, in light of questions raised about the administration's lack of communication channels, President Park said not responding to abnormalities shouldn't be seen as being unable to communicate and emphasized the government has maintained open dialogue with the public through various means.
The issue of communication is something that will continue, especially towards those who hold different opinions. There doesn't seem to be the willingness to acknowledge that difference, which is why there's a high possibility that people with different principles, positions, and interests could become greatly isolated.
새 정부 출범할 때부터 한일 관계의 발전을 바라왔고 또 특히 양국 간의 신뢰 형성의 기초가 되는 그 올바른 역사 인식 그것에 대해서 좀 성의 있는 자세를 보여줄 것을 강조를 해왔습니다.
President Park expressed her regret towards the recent right-leaning movement in Japan, including Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's visit to the controversial Yasukuni Shrine, and said a summit between Korea and Japan will come at a time when it is seen as being beneficial for bilateral ties. On the other hand, the president stated that Seoul is working closely with Beijing and pushing forward with its strategic partnership, reflecting how the Park administration has laid out its foreign policies for the Northeast Asian region.
The balance in Northeast Asia is shifting, and it seems like there's the understanding that leading towards a certain country is not beneficial. There will be no choice but to move towards diplomacy with both the U.S. and China. And we will have to wait and see, but it looks like the Park Geun-hye administration will continue on with this framework.
The president's first press conference to open the new year was a prime opportunity for many to gauge this year's policy directions and gain further insight on where Korea will be heading in the future.
Now, during this press conference, President Park Geun-hye mentioned the word economy 24 times, and that goes lengths to show her commitment to revitalization of the economy and the fixing the economic situation.
Right, but the major keyword after the press conference was communication. Is she a good communicator? Was what many seem to wonder. I mean, but the president did make a surprise visit to the press room at Cheongwade shortly after the briefing, so she is making efforts at least.
That's right, and you have to give her credit for quickly following up on her plans. Seoul's Unification Ministry did contact North Korea and proposed holding working level talks this week in hopes of holding family reunions in time for the Lunar New Year holiday. So hopefully this time around the family reunions will take place.
That's right, that's right. After it was canceled indefinitely, and hopefully it will take place. Of course, time is running out for a lot of
Maybe this
these
New Year's
elderly.
press briefing thing will become an annual thing.
Huh.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
All right, well, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Wait until next year, right?
Yes.
All right, still ahead on Korea Today. 2013 saw the introduction of the bendable screen and much more. We saw the first wearable from a Korean phone maker. Now, what are some of the smart technologies that'll lead the mega trends around the world, from intelligent daily products to smart fabrics and wearables? We'll take a look at the noteworthy trends in the field of science.
You don't have to look too far at a neighborhood to find a stray cat or a feral cat hiding in a dark alley or hiding under a car. Some people love them and others can't stand them, and this is becoming a cause of tension in some neighborhoods. And our reporter Kim Chan-ju has covered this story. Good morning.
Good morning. It is estimated that there are about 1 million feral cats nationwide and about 300,000 in Seoul alone. So as we're seeing these feral cats more often around the city, there has been a sharp growth in the opinions that are divided into how to manage this growing population. So I went to find out what problems are caused by these cats and what can be done to solve this problem. The cold winter continues, but some animals are left out on the streets without care. These are feral cats that live in the city but are not being looked after by people. Hungry cats dig through garbage bags, but this causes a lot of trouble for residents in the area.
Cats get into fights over territory, and they're really loud when they do that. When that happens, sometimes I come out to stop them, but it's actually scary because they're really aggressive.
Street cat issue has become a problem in our society, as one survey showed that every 7 out of 10 people have complained about them in the neighborhood. Not long ago, animal rights groups fighting for feral cat protection at an apartment complex in Seoul ran into strong opposition with those who stand against the idea. The debate was over whether feral cats and people can coexist in same environment.
Feral cats have a negative image in Korea. As Korea became more urbanized, it failed to take into consideration the environment or nature of feral cats. This caused trouble for them in finding food, and as a result, it's becoming a problem among people.
To control the population of feral cats, trap neuter return programs are being implemented by the government. About 7,000 cats are captured annually to be neutered and then released.
The TNR program allows a limited number of veterinary clinics to carry out surgery on certain cats under a given budget. Korea doesn't have any studies yet on how effective the TNR method is.
It's not that TNR is ineffective, but there are problems in implementing this program. Cats are territorial animals, so it is important to know the number of cats in each area and then carry out an intensive TNR program.
Various attempts to find effective alternatives are still ongoing. A university in the U.S. revealed a new study showing that performing vasectomies or hysterectomies on feral cats can reduce the numbers in feral colonies more effectively than the traditional approach of neutering. Along with TNR programs, there are also places that have come up with more realistic approaches. In front of the Gangdong-gu district office, a few cats have gathered to eat clean cat food in a bowl, a contrast to food waste from garbage bags. A district office from Gangdong-gucheong established this place from last May to provide food and water for street cats.
The reason why cats make a mess going through garbage bags or make a lot of noise is because they're hungry. So, we thought building a place for them to eat food would solve complaints from the neighborhood. Also, it would help improve the perception towards cats and prevent people from abusing animals.
Complaints about feral cats in the neighborhood have reduced significantly in this district. Creating a special cat feeding area has helped to manage the cats, and combined with the TNR program, the results have been very effective.
The trouble that we see from feral cats has reduced quite significantly. Now I've become good friends with them, so they're happy even to see my feet. They run up to me asking for food.
Feral cats should be captured in certain cages and then must be released in the place where they are found. They are territorial animals, so it's hard for them to live outside that area. Through this feeding system, we can effectively manage cats in each area.
After creating a feeding area for cats, the TNR program in our district has seen rapid growth. That's because it's easy to trap cats this way. The cats that have undergone TNR have increased almost by double. So, I think this has helped us control the population of these cats.
But Paju, you do mention in the report that vasectomies could be a more efficient approach than TNR. So is the government thinking about, is the government considering this as an option for the near future, possibly?
Well, the vasectomies and hysterectomies method is just at its research stage over in the US. So to be fully implemented by the government in Korea, I think it has to go through many other steps, clinical approval and such. But then again, speaking of the TNR program in Korea, cats, before it was conducted, cats used to be captured and then put down, and this caused much controversy because it was seen as animal cruelty. But since 2006, the government has been implementing the TNR program. But some are saying that this method in reality is not being conducted properly, and there is a lack of follow-up care after the procedures, because some of them cannot cope with their lives after the procedures, so some of them end up dying on the street and such.
It's quite an interesting system that they have in Gangdong-gu, where the cat lovers could go to these designated areas and feed the stray cats, and this is proving to be quite effective.
That's right. The feeding facility in Gangdong is being well received by residents, and so for the system to be properly worked out, cats needs to be fed at certain times, as you said, in designated areas that have been approved by the surrounding residents. This way, cat moms can feed cats more fully, and then since cats will be active in the limited areas, it makes it more easy to capture these cats to conduct TNR.
Cat moms. That's such a cute way of putting them.
Yeah, so we have TNR right now. There's TNR process going on. There's also designated certain areas to feed them. Okay, what are some other countries that have some notable ways of controlling the cat population?
Actually, many countries like the US, Europe, Australia, South Africa, India, and Hong Kong have accepted TNR method as one of the ways to control the feral cat populations. But they're also trying to find a way where people and cats can coexist. So there are places like Ainoshima in Japan, that's known as the Cat Island. And over in Taiwan, Huchong Cat Village has become transformed itself from a mining town into a tourist hotspot. So those are some examples, but in Korea, there are still opinions divided between those really like cats and who cannot stand cats. So I think in order to come up with some agreement and come up with some possible solutions, I think it is very important to understand each other's point of view. So.
Well, I think anything's better than just capturing them and putting them down, euthanizing them, I think. You know, giving them a chance to survive out in the wild is probably the best way to go.
Well, thank you, Chenju, for this story.
Thank you.
All right, we'll leave that cat story there and go to our Dami, who joins us from the Botanical Garden of Pyeokchoji.
All right, we'll see what she has for us, what experience she's going to go through today. Dami, over to you.
I'm back reporting live from the Botanical Garden BCJ or Pyeokchoji. Now, usually many visitors come here during the summer or springtime because that's when the flowers are in full bloom. But this winter, there will be quite a lot of visitors as well, as the Pyeokchoji Botanical Garden Lighting Festival 2014 is taking place. So if we take a look around, there are some beautiful LED lights on display. Now, this garden is home to 1,420 species of plants. During the Light Festival, these plants will be cloaked with about more than 1 million LED lights or more. Now, visitors can enjoy many illuminating areas such as the Queen's Garden, Maple Road, Aurora Forest, Melody House. There's even the Western-style area called Love's Proposal, which is available to use as an event venue for wedding proposals. Now, between Queen's Garden and Maple Road is this huge tree. There's even some nice background music to add to the scenery. Now, the LED lights, they're kind of blinking, as you can see, because they're dancing, or they're kind of blinking to the rhythm of the music. So they call it the dancing tree. Now, not only is there much sightseeing to do, but there's also a variety of hands-on experience programs, such as making pottery or painting pottery, and many more. Now, right now, this festival is going to go on until March 2nd. They say they turn on the LED lights from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., so do keep that in mind. I must say it's a great place to spend time with your family, but also quite romantic as well, so maybe coming with your significant other is a great idea. That's all I have for now. I'm Idami, Korea Today.
Recently, Korea's Electronics and Telecommunications Research Institute put out a list of technologies to keep an eye on in the year 2014. This includes autonomous vehicles as well as 3D printing.
And these are some of the technologies that may be setting waves and become mega trends. So people are keeping a close eye on these trends. Travis Klein joins us to tell us more. Good morning.
Good morning, Travis.
Thanks for having me. Ever since starting the report here on the tech stream, I find that I juxtapose a lot of the items that I feature with science fiction or like movies.
Oh, what's the latest?
I'm going to do the same thing today,
right.
though, because if you ever seen like Iron Man or like Batman or James Bond 007, they'd have like a normal watch. It seems like it's just normal, but they push a button, then all of a sudden they have this big, huge inflatable plane that they get away or something. Now, today we're not going to talk about those items, obviously not that extravagant, but we're going to take a look at some of the technologies with a lot of growth potential and that are gaining a lot of popularity here in Korea.
Various technologies last year set trends and brought more convenience to our lives. With much expectation on what new technologies will emerge this year, Korea's Electronics and Telecommunications Research Institute, or Ep479, announced megatrends worth taking note of. Last year, the introduction of Samsung's Galaxy Gear watch and Google Glass drew a lot of attention, boosting competition in the wearable tech industry. Research is currently underway into various wearable devices. This research team is concentrating on developing a wearable wristband device.
And this is no ordinary wristband. It actually can follow the movements of my fingers, my hand, and my wrist, so I can do many different things, which I'm going to show you in a moment.
This device, which detects movement in the muscle when the user moves his or her fingers, can be used as wearable controllers in the form of a watch, or a wireless presenter, or remote control. There's another type of wearable device, which is in the form of a bag. This allows you to control features on the screen in front of you through motion recognition.
In the future, we will see wearable devices that you can stick to the body in the form of patches or transplant to the human body.
Another leading technology is Internet of Things, which has created some buzz across the world in the IT industry.
Internet of Things is a system where everyday items exchange information with each other.
Internet of Things attaches communication modules to items and connects them through the internet, allowing them to carry out specific functions. Using the Internet of Things platform technology, you can also use vending machines with greater ease since you can choose the amount of coffee or sugar for your cup of joe.
Pretty good.
By simply swiping your smartphone near a sensor attached to the wall, you can read the current temperature around you. Not only that, if you connect a sensor to your smartphone, you can also read simple data such as humidity or light levels around you.
If this technology advances, it will make our life richer and more convenient.
Also, hologram technology has been selected as a leading technology for the future 3D image industry. Currently, Korea's hologram technology is being used in various fields such as displays and performances. But in other countries, researchers have created images that you can look at from 360 degrees around, which is considered a more advanced technology. Just like from a movie, conferences using holograms and manipulating computers with your fingers in thin air will be realized. Three-dimensional printing is also considered one of the core future technologies. It received a lot of attention last year, and this year in February, the term for patent claims over the key technology will come to an end, leading to expectations that this field will further flourish. Another technology expected to lead future trends is big data. This refers to gathering information that was previously difficult to manage and producing new values and analysis from the collective body of data. Big data, especially for companies, can provide insight into the market and consumers, creating unprecedented opportunities, and is gaining more importance for that reason. These technologies from various fields will be at the center of attention to see how they will be used and adopted in our daily lives in the future.
We saw a lot of different technologies out there, but a lot of focus has been turned on wearables. Recent polls indicate that nearly 50% of people who have smartphones are interested in some form of wearables. But as makers of wearables, what kind of challenges do they face?
Well, the obvious difficulties would be maybe the materials that they use. Is it going to be flexible? Is it going to be lightweight? Because I don't think you want to be weighed down walking somewhere.
Exactly.
At the same time, are you going to be able to use it practically? Is it going to have a power source? Is it going to have batteries? Am I going to mess it up if I touch it or if I run into a wall or something?
Or will you get electrocuted if you get it wet?
Exactly. Or do I actually need to plug it into the nearest outlet and carry a couple miles of extension cord with me? Obviously, those are things that they're dealing with. But obviously, as well, there is a bunch of research in the realm, and they're at a rapid pace. So eventually, they'll
But wearable
release it to the
technology is pretty self-explanatory. But Internet of Things, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this concept. It's quite elusive.
I was introduced to this concept just recently myself. Basically what it is it's Internet of Things is an intelligent networking technology that uses sensors and communication. So if you have things like your smartphone or your watch and you walk into a room, you can set like the mood, adjust the lighting, for instance, for like a party, or if you want to wine and dine. You can set and adjust the temperature of the room depending on how hot or cold that you want it. And it's really cold right now outside, wintertime, but even extending it more to those who might have like a yard, to set the timers on their watch for your sprinkling system, or just all kinds of
So
other
it's kind of
features
a
like
wireless type of communication device between things, between items, right?
Internet of Things.
Oh, that's exactly now I get it. Thank you for putting that
using the internet.
We were like, what is Internet
connection.
of Things this whole time?
But I mean, we still need time, though, right? To see some of the cool gadgets that you showed us in the report, we have to wait and see if these products will come out in the market and will we get our hands on those products.
So true, not yet commercialized, but the Consumer Electronics Show, which is going to occur very soon for 2014, it's CES 2014. It's the largest electronics and technology trade show of its kind. Some of the products that we saw today on the report are expected to be shown there, and also announced just recently by Samsung and LG Electronics. The Internet of Things items that they have are called Smart Home and Home Chat, respectively. Also, LG is going to reveal this new wearable wristband product. So a lot of anticipation for these items.
So another wearable
Tuesday
in the
local
market.
time in the U.S.
Okay. We'll keep our eyes on that show, as well as all these cool gadgets and technologies.
That's right. 2014 is going to be
Really
great.
exciting.
Travis, thank you very much.
Well, still ahead on Korea today. We're a week into the new year. Are we still holding fast to our New Year's resolutions? Quitting smoking and losing weight top the list year after year. We take a look at some practical and creative ways to help you live up to your resolutions this year for a change.
And a good Tuesday morning to you all as we kick things off with the latest news on Chu Shin-soo. And no, it's nothing to do with him on the baseball field or the monster contract he signed with the Texas Rangers. But on Monday, the Korean slugger was named the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Games Goodwill Ambassador. At the Korea Press Center on Monday, the 32-year-old Texas Ranger was honored as the Goodwill Ambassador as he hopes to spread knowledge about Korea throughout the world. He stated that when he first went over to the U.S., very little people knew about Korea as a nation and that he's honored to be given the title and the responsibility. Chu, who signed a 7-year, $130 million deal this offseason, added that all children should be given the opportunity to play baseball and will do all he can to help youth baseball. And moving on, if Psy and Crayon Pop swept the world in the entertainment world in 2013, First Pitches in the KBO received its share of popularity on the internet as well. And turns out something that didn't even happen in the major leagues was voted as the most popular video clip on MLB.com. Now, the so-called best first pitch you'll ever see, or the 360 back illusion first pitch by rhythmic gymnast Shin Soo-ji, was voted as the most popular video clip of 2013 on MLB's Cut 4. And while the first pitch took place when the Doosan Bears played the Samsung Lions last season, it was one of the most popular watched clips in the U.S. And making the list as well was Lee Hyun-jin dancing to Psy's Gangnam Style inside the Dodgers locker room. And moving on, after 7 years and 141 goals later, Dejan Damjanovic said goodbye to his fans and Korea at a press conference earlier on Monday. At the Seoul World Cup Stadium, the Montenegrin international said goodbye after 7 years in the K-League Classic. After joining the Incheon United back in 2007 and playing for FC Seoul for the next 6 years, Dan was the top scorer for 3 straight seasons, with 7 seasons of double-digit scoring as well. Now, known as one of the most popular players in the league, Dan stated that he considers himself Korean and will never forget his years in the nation as he's set to play for Jiangsu Sainty in the Chinese Super League next season. And now finishing things off in the V-League, the results are out for the 2013-2014 V-League All-Star voting, and in first place, Yeoyeon and Yang Hyo-jin. With the voting taking place from December 16th to January 2nd, Hyundai Capital Skywalker's libero Yeoyeon received 18,912 votes, as he received the most votes for the 3rd time in his career, while Hyundai Hill State center Yang Hyo-jin received the most votes in the Women's League after getting 23,895 votes. Meanwhile, the V-League All-Star Game will take place on January 19th in Suwon. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Seems like the last 2 weeks of the year are filled with questions on what your resolutions are, and the first 2 weeks of the year, or the new year, are filled with questions of whether you've kept your resolutions or not. And a lot of them happen to involve quitting smoking or going on a diet.
I'm looking at one whose New Year's resolution included losing weight, but to help us. Lunar New Year. To help us with these goals, we have Dr. Alice Hyung-dan joining us. Good morning. What's your New Year's resolution, Doctor?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, so towards the end of the year, I sort of lost my rhythm. And so with the beginning of the new year, I want to get back into my exercise routine. Yeah, so that is my New Year's.
To lose weight?
No, just to stay healthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stay healthy, right? After our last physical that I had with you, Doctor, I really need to actually find my health again, right?
Walk the talk.
All right. Walking the talk, as you mentioned, is exactly the thing that's very, very difficult to do. So we're going to look at some of the reasons why this may be.
It's the beginning of the year and the perfect time to come up with New Year's resolutions. What are some wishes and commitments people have for the year?
네, 저는 다이어트도 성공하고 싶습니다.
저 다이어트 하는 거예요. 다이어트도 해가지고 남자친구도 만나고 싶어요.
올해는 금연을 하고 싶어요. 조금씩 천천히 끊어서 꼭 올해는 금연을 하도록 하겠습니다.
For men, many vowed to quit smoking, and for women, many chose going on a diet as their New Year's resolution. Especially with smoking, you need much more than simply a lot of determination. This is because of the nicotine in cigarettes, which when absorbed by the body releases dopamine, creating a sensation of happiness in the brain.
If you smoke on a regular basis, nicotine receptors become stimulated. That's why if you don't smoke, those receptors cannot be fulfilled, causing a strong sense of deprivation. This is why people seek out smoking again.
In order to succeed quitting smoking, it's good to seek aid from nicotine replacement products. Without all the other toxins in cigarettes, these provide nicotine to the body to help manage the withdrawal symptoms and assist in quitting smoking. According to a study, the number of cases in which people succeeded in quitting smoking without any external aid is less than 5%. But with various replacement products, that success rate can go up to 40%. It's also good to drink at least 2 liters of water a day. By getting sufficient amounts of water, it can break up the toxins accumulated in the body and release it through fluids, which makes it easier to break the habit of smoking. Finally, consuming foods that help flush out nicotine from the body also helps. Doenjang, or Korean soybean paste, helps break up the nicotine in the body. Blue-bodied fish, squid, and octopus, which are full of omega fatty acids, help open up the blood vessels previously constricted by carbon monoxide. Although many people take on the challenge of dieting, the majority of them give up midway. One of the main reasons people fail when going on diets is because they only focus on changing their eating habits.
If you only change your eating habits while dieting, you may see a decrease in calorie consumption. But at the same time, your muscle mass also drops, reducing the metabolism of the body. That's why you see yo-yo effects later on. In order to prevent this, it's important to do muscle training exercises while you're on a diet.
These days, more fun ways of working out that help you get in shape are becoming more popular. One of the methods is micro-training. All you need to do is put on a special training suit and hook the wires up to a device. Depending on how much exercise you want to get, the machine sends out low-frequency currents under 100 Hz to the fiber that makes up your muscles.
This exercise provides 150 muscle constrictions for 4 seconds each, which is what makes it so popular because it has a high contraction rate compared to the time that goes into exercising.
There's also another exercise that makes it almost as fun as if you're flying through the sky. It's none other than aerial yoga. There's also CrossFit, where you do an intense workout in a concentrated span of time.
When you work out, it creates heat in the body and burns calories. Also, it stimulates the hypothalamus, which reduces your appetite. Not only that, if the growth hormones in the body drop, you gain weight. But exercise stimulates growth hormones, so that's why it's a crucial part in dieting.
In the new year, how about trying out more systematic and creative methods to stick to your resolutions for the year?
So my dad has finally quit smoking. I'm really happy for him after decades of smoking. But how long does the body take before it gets healthy again?
That's a great question. The good news is that it actually takes a relatively short amount of time for you to have health benefits from quitting smoking. After 20 minutes, your heart rate and blood pressure will decrease. After 3 minutes, lung function and circulation improve. After just 1 year, your risk of developing coronary artery disease is cut in half. And after 4 to 5 years, your risk of stroke is returned to a baseline level. After 10 years, your risk of dying of lung cancer is also cut in half, but it takes 15 years for your risk of coronary heart disease to get down to the level of that of a non-smoker. But the bottom line is that, of course, it's never too early to quit smoking, and it's never too late to quit smoking either. And so the earlier you start, the better off you are.
All right, do it today.
I think that's just the $1 million statement. It's never too late, so just go ahead and quit smoking as soon as possible. But there's so many different ways to do it. There's cold turkeying, there's slowly cutting down, there's other forms. Some people are using electronic cigarettes to try to quit, which I don't think really works. But
how do you know so well?
I actually did quit smoking.
Kidding.
I mean, but it's really tough. What are some other methods that you can use, some supplementary methods that you can use to quit smoking?
Right. So as we saw in the video, there are medications that have been shown to help improve your chances of smoking cessation. One of the reasons why it's so hard to quit smoking is because your body actually gets dependent on nicotine. And using nicotine replacement products can actually help sort of eliminate those really unpleasant nicotine withdrawal effects. So I recommend that people use a nicotine patch and they apply it the night before they go to the quit date. So they're going to sleep with the patch on. And then they can use gum and lozenges, so nicotine gum and lozenges throughout the course of the day to help curb those short-term urges to smoke. There are also 2 medications that are available through your physician. They're prescription medications called varenicline and bupropion, and these can help people quit smoking as well.
And another big resolution, of course, is losing weight. And some very strong-willed people do succeed in losing some weight, but a lot of them also go through experience some yo-yo phenomenon. So what are some professional tips that you can give for our viewers?
Right, so exercise consistently stands out as an important factor in maintaining weight loss. The reason why is because when you lose weight, your metabolism actually slows down. And exercise is needed to sort of offset that decrease in metabolism. Also, exercise will help improve muscle mass, and that will improve insulin sensitivity and help burn off calories later as well. I tell my patients it's important for them to realize if you're overweight, you didn't start a weight gain diet, obviously, to get to your weight. And so using a short-term diet to lose the weight is not the overall solution to health. You have to fix what's fundamentally wrong. And so people need to change how they think about food, what they eat, and how much they eat. And they need to make fitness an integral part of their everyday lives. And that's the way to stay healthy.
Make it a more long-term goal, right?
Exactly. It's all of these. It doesn't involve just a short-term type of, cramming type of session, but it really involves a lifestyle change.
Exactly.
So that's the biggest tip there. Thank you, Dr. Dan.
You're welcome.
All right, that's all we have prepared for you on this Tuesday morning.
All right, have a great, wonderful day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning. It will be a cold one here in Korea. See you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.